Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order at 5:34 p.m. Let's do a roll call. This is Brian, and I am present.
I don't know if I heard Rainey, but this is Hay, and I'm present.
This is Brooke. I am present.
And Rainey, are you present?
I am. One
Okay.
sec. There we go.
Okay.
Rainy and I'm present.
Thank you very much. Item number 3, Governing Council Administrative Discussion and Action Items. Item 3.1, a recommendation to approve the agenda for the October 20th, 2025 regular meeting. I'm happy to accept a motion.
This is Rainy and I make a recommendation to approve the agenda for October 2025 regular meeting.
This is Hay, and I second it.
Thank you. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainy, I approve.
Brooke, I approve.
And Hay, I approve.
Thank you. Motion passes. Item 3.2, a recommendation to approve the minutes from the September 29th, 2025 regular meeting. Was the meeting on the 22nd or the 29th? I'm showing that the minutes say the 22nd.
Hold on.
And it looks like it was on the 22nd.
Yes.
So the draft minutes are okay.
So I make a recommendation to approve the minutes from the September 22nd, 2025 regular meeting.
And I second it.
Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainy, I approve.
Brooke, I approve.
And Hay, and I approve.
The motion passes. Item 3.3, a recommendation to approve Resolution FY 26-01, Open Meetings Act for the 2025-2026 school year. And Lori, is this you or Elizabeth?
Either one of us could speak to this. We do have to have an annual Open Meetings Act resolution. I did upload it to the website. Most of the resolution is simply from the Open Meetings Act. Right now, we have scheduled the second Monday of the month, or as indicated in the meeting notice, as our regular meeting time in the Open Meetings Act. So that's the only thing that may need board discussion before a vote to approve.
Lori, has anything changed between this draft and what we adopted last year?
Just the dates and names.
Okay.
Would anyone like me to share my screen to take a look at it?
Yes, please. Where would I find that stuff? These resolutions?
Give me 1 second, and I will actually show you on my screen.
So, hey, it's in the spot that I directed you to. It's just that she just recently uploaded them.
Okay.
It should also be on the website.
That's, yeah.
Hey, I can put it in the chat if you want a link. I'm there right now.
So, oh wait, I think I see it. Okay, never mind. It's under MMCS resolution fiscal year. There it is. I see it. Okay, got it.
So we're saying that we met in regular session on October 20th, and this is the section where we state when the governing council is going to meet. Do we have any issues with the second Monday of the month?
Not for me.
Okay.
No.
Anything else that we need to draw our attention to, Lori?
No, that's it.
Okay. Do we need to put the time that we meet?
Um, it does. Oh, let's see. That's I believe the time is in the meeting notice, but we could certainly put it on here.
I would be in favor of that just
Okay.
because, I mean, obviously it's a recurring meeting. It's also a recurring, we always meet at 5:30, so I'm okay. I say prefer to have it in there.
Okay.
Can I ask too for notice to the family members of the school? Like how are they notified of the regular meetings other than knowing that, hey, we're doing this on the second Monday of every month? Is there like a reminder that goes out or how do?
We've done it different ways, different years. Sometimes we have sent out a reminder. Um, Usually I'll have meeting notice on the school calendar, although I did not for today. I'm open to any of those options. And we used to tape a agenda on the door, the front door of the school, although we stopped doing that because, so many families wouldn't see it that way. So,
Okay, I was curious. Okay.
Any other questions? Hearing no questions, I am happy to entertain a motion. And Lori, when someone does the motion, do they need to put in there to add at 5:30 p.m. in paragraph one?
sure, although I'm going to update a amended version to the website.
Okay, great. Okay. Rainey, I think you're talking. I just don't hear you.
Luck now?
Yep.
There we go. Don't know what's up. But yes, I make a recommendation to approve Resolution FY 26-01, Open Meetings Act for the 2025-2026 school year, ending that one small edit to include the time of 5:30 p.m.
Hey, and I second the motion to approve the Open Meetings Act as amended.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey, I approve.
This is Brooke, I approve.
And this is Hay, and I approve.
The motion passes. Item 3.4, a recommendation to approve Resolution FY 26-02, Purchasing Authority for the 2025-2026 school year.
So the purchasing authority sets the amount the governing council is comfortable with the director spending without having to bring forward that item for pre-approval from the governing council. It will need to be amended because it still has the 2024 date on the one uploaded. I believe that the current version, so the amount that it was for the 24-25 school year was up to 15,000. Um, the governing council could choose to increase it slightly, taking into account inflation as an ongoing issue, or keep it at 15,000 and reinvestigate that in a future year.
My personal preference is the latter and just keeping what we've already been doing. But does anyone else have a question or a comment regarding purchasing authority for the director?
I'm reading through it. I just want to understand. So this is on individual purchase anywhere from $0 to $15,000 per purchase, not I guess, a blanket amount of $15,000 from this date to this date, as long as it doesn't exceed this amount?
It's like by who you're purchasing from, essentially, if that makes sense. So, let's say we're working with an electrical contractor,
Okay.
and we need to have electrical work done. So, Elizabeth in the business office can open up a purchase order for up to 15,000 just, based on the director stating, hey, we're going to need electrical repairs done. But if
Okay.
we think over the course of the year, even if it's multiple purchases that
Hmm.
we're going to exceed spending 15,000 with that particular vendor, then we'd have to come to the governing council and say, hey, we're looking at spending more than 15,000 with the electrical vendor. Will you approve that?
Okay.
The exception to this is salaries. So contractual salaries don't come to the governing council to approve because governing council already approves the salary schedule, and most employees' contracts fall onto the salary schedule.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but it's accepting purchases that go through payroll essentially
Okay. So per vendor.
per
Okay.
vendor
Dollars.
for the fiscal year, which is July 1st through June 30th.
Okay.
And usually what happens is at the beginning of the year, or sorry, at the end, like in the June meeting, the business office will be like, well, the cleaners are going to cost 75,000 a year. The, P&M costs 40,000 a year, whatever it is. And so the governing council does a lot of approvals then that sets us up. So it's only really if something like changes or adjusts or we have an unanticipated expense in this area that it might
Okay.
come forward.
And with that, if there are unexpected expenses, do you shop around and do like cost comparisons before? How does all of that work too?
Yeah, so I'm actually a certified procurement officer for the state. And
Oh,
so I believe it's uh, 25,000 or above that you need three comparable quotes.
got it.
And if it's above 60,000 and you're not going through a pre-existing contract, then you
Mhm.
actually have to go through a formal bidding process, which you want to avoid doing basically at all costs because it's so time consuming and difficult to get it right and highly technical. I mean, I've taken the classes for procurement officer, but I wouldn't consider myself an expert to like, run an RFP process, although Mary has done it on the school's behalf at least once before. So, yes, there are certain rules and regulations into place. There are things that you want to consider when you're selecting vendors besides straight lowest cost, safety record, availability and responsiveness, the quality of the work, right? Like you might find electricians that are really cheap, but their work.
Terrible track record.
Yeah, right. So, over time, we've developed good relationships with people who have reasonable rates, but also can get out and get the job done when it needs to get done. So.
Okay. No, I was very
Just
curious.
to
I'm glad that we have you.
just to just to add, we also utilize, there are several educational cooperatives who go through the process of awarding contracts to for a lot of services. And so we will use those contracts because we're members of those cooperatives.
Okay.
And so something called CES and ACES. ACES, for example, we use quite often because that's where we do our food service. So they've gone out and done the required RFP process. And so they have vendors who have followed that procurement law, and then we can utilize those vendors without having to go out to RFP.
That's awesome. I had no
It
idea that
is.
things like this
It's
even
really
existed.
awesome. Yep. And Lori, I'm going to step in. I'm not sure some of these folks know who I am. My name is
Yeah.
Mary Schofield, and I'm the licensed business manager for the school.
Hi, Miss Murray.
Hi. That's right, because you were at the last meeting. Yeah. I think I was in Scotland. Yeah, you were.
Were there any other questions or comments? regarding the draft resolution? Hearing none, I'm happy to accept a motion.
All right, let's try my audio again. This is Rainey, and I make a recommendation to approve Resolution FY 26-02, Purchasing Authority for the 2025-2026 school year.
It's Hay, and I second it.
Thank you. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey, I approve.
This is Brooke, I approve.
And this is Hay, and I approve.
The motion passes. Item 3.5, a recommendation to approve Resolution FY 26-03, Fund Balance for the 2025-2026 school year.
So, Brian, I have already updated the date in the document because I hadn't updated it, and it was the one from last year. So that's updated to October 2025. Sorry.
Thank you.
So this is a requirement of the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. We have to do it every year, and they require you to identify parts of your fund balance in their buckets, restricted, committed, assigned, and unassigned. And so this is our policy basically that we do it in a resolution because it changes every year. Doesn't change much, but we have to identify the funds we use and how we're going to determine those buckets for our financial statements, and it has to be done before our financial statements are finalized. And so we do it this time because the audit's done, so we kind of know what's going on from a final financial standpoint, but the financial statements haven't been drafted yet. It's the lovely technical language. Basically, it comes straight out of the GASB, the Governmental Accounting Standards Board's 54 ruling that we are required to follow.
Mary and Elizabeth, is this the same document, I mean, besides date, that we adopted last year?
Yeah, we updated the funds a little bit because we didn't have, there was a couple that we had to add in and some that we took away because we don't use those funds anymore. But for the most part, it's
We also changed the non-spendable.
the non-spendable 1A is talks about inventories, and we don't maintain inventories of supplies, things like that. So we've just updated that to say none. So it talks about you have to restrict it, and it says the following categories are declared non-spendable, and we have none because
Great.
we don't maintain inventories of supplies.
It looks like we also need to update the school year. The version that I'm looking at still says
No, it's-
24-25.
It's supposed to be. I asked that question. So
No.
it's for last year, even though we're doing it now.
Because we have to wait till the year closes for the audited financial statements, it's actually, it rotates a year behind.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, I asked
No
that
problem.
question too, Brian.
Great minds think alike. I think those are all of my questions. Any questions from other GC members? Okay, with that in mind, and keeping in mind that just the date will be updated with October 20th, 2025, I would like to accept a motion to move forward on this.
This is Rainey, and I make a recommendation to approve Resolution FY 26-03, Fund Balance for the 2025-26 school year.
This is Hay, and I second it.
Just one moment, I'll go back to my agenda. So, Mary, going back to what you mentioned, in the actual resolution, it says 24-25,
Correct.
but the motion should be
The
25-26.
resolution, the resolution is in fiscal 2026, which is why we have to date it 2026-03.
Uh-huh.
But refers back to the fiscal year of 25.
Correct. But it says resolution FY 26-03, which I understand, fund balance for the 25-26 school year.
That disclosure is incorrect. It should be 24-25.
Okay.
Then I will amend that and I can make a recommendation to approve resolution FY 2603 fund balance for the 2024-2025 school year.
Correct.
Okay.
And is there a second for the amended motion?
Second it. This is Hay and I second it.
Thank you very much. Roll call vote. This is Brian, I approve.
This is Rainey, I approve.
This is Brooke, I approve.
This is Hay and I approve. Sorry.
That's okay. Thank you. Motion passes. Right. We're on to item number 4, public comments. Is there anyone online this evening who wishes to provide public comment to the Governing Council? Lori, I'm not seeing anyone. Oh, you're muted.
Thank you. None.
Thank you very much. Item number 5, stakeholder reports and action items. 5.1 is the director's report. Lori, back to you.
Excellent. So we recently had the 40th day of school. So if you've worked in public education, you may know the 40th, 80th, and 120th days are significant dates. For the 40th day, I believe we had enrollment of 224 students. We had some students withdraw after the 40th day, so I think we stand closer to 220 right now, but we will hope to have a few more students added by the time we reach the 80th day, which will be in December. Our funding for next year from the state will be based on the 80th and 120th day. Basically 50% of the 80th and 50% of the 120th day. That's where we stand with enrollment. We are still hiring for a few positions. I do have a candidate for our math intervention / math lab teacher. So hopefully we can make that hire in the next few days. I'm looking for a educational assistant, and we've recently hired a few additional substitutes, which will help make things run smoothly at the school. As far as assessments, we went over those in some depth at the last Academic Excellence Committee meeting. The state has changed the assessments for kinder, first, and second grade students to a new assessment called Amira by the same company that provided the previous assessment, which was iStation. So what we are, and it's changed for reading, but not for math. This assessment has students actually reading into a microphone and generating a oral reading fluency score. So Brooke and Hay, probably both of your kids did this. Well, not probably, for sure both of your kids did this. They may have come home talking about it, they may not have. So we're all adjusting to what that assessment tells us. I think, from my perspective, oral reading fluency is really, really important. It is a main correlation or correlate for future reading comprehension. However, it's not, in my opinion, not nearly as effective to have kids read to a computer who generates an AI generated score as it is to have students read to their actual teachers and have their teachers generate that score. So Mount Mahogany will continue to do that as well, just to make sure that we have strong data on our students so we can best identify students who may need additional help, who may need intervention, we may suspect have a disability. So that's where we are with assessment. The whole state is getting used to um, this new assessment. So I think, it's hard to say at this point how things will adjust. You may have seen that the state ended its embargo on last year's state assessment data. The good news is that we saw across the state and in Albuquerque some improvement in scores, especially in reading or English language arts. I think that, personally, my opinion is that at least some of that improvement is due to what the state has done as far as training teachers in structured literacy and supporting schools in implementing teaching reading based on the science of reading as opposed to based on love of literature, which is great. But when it comes to learning to read, kids do have to learn the phonics and they have to practice the decoding and the fluency in order to be able to get to the love of literature place, which is where we hope that they all get to love reading. We had conferences before fall break. That's really great opportunity. We see almost 100% of our families for conferences, which I'm really proud of. We try to make it convenient for families as far as either doing them virtually or in person. We then had field trips on those days for our middle school students. So our middle schoolers went to, with Cottonwood Gulch, to the Bukeki Open Space for some outdoor learning, which was, I think, really rewarding and fun. We had a activity for the wild robot. So we had some extra things for them to do on the Friday of October 10th. They had some writing and some also we're hoping to put the wild robot together into like a group poster. Last week, actually just on Friday, we had our Wild Robot movie night, which was really well attended. Say we probably had 70 to 80 people there. We did the big movie screen on the back field. That was really fun. It's a great movie. It has really good messages for kids. And I'm trying to think of what else? Oh, we had a balloon day. So Miss Christina, our third grade teacher, has connections to family friends who have a hot air balloon. And so after Balloon Fiesta was over that Tuesday, we had an inflation on the backfield, and that was really exciting for the kids. That's my report. Do we have any questions from the governing council?
Lori, I have two.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the benefit of the entire GC, when you were talking about assessment and Demira in particular, you made reference to the benefit of having a teacher scored assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Were you referring to Dibbles?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, just for the sake of everyone, we always want to be careful about the extent to which we're assessing students,
Mm-hmm.
but the Dibbles assessment takes very little time to administer and to score and provides, as Lori mentioned, another valuable data point. So I just wanted to share that. And Lori, to what do you attribute nearly 100% participation in parent-teacher conferences? That is not the norm across schools.
Yeah, I think I really attribute it to our teachers. They work really hard to build strong relationships with families. There's a lot of outreach and communication that's ongoing. There's specifically a lot of outreach if families don't schedule a conference, then Victoria will give them a call or email or text and say, hey, we haven't seen you schedule a conference yet. Can we get you on the calendar? And of course, I attribute it to our families. I hope that they feel that sense of community and connection. I hope that they, have chosen Mount Mahogany because specifically, they want to be highly involved in the school. And, I hope that they see the evidence of that communication is in, a better school experience for their kids.
Thank you for that. It's atypical, and I think that speaks to the school and how it engages with families. Are there any other questions from my fellow GC members for Lori about her director report?
I have one. Lori, is there a printed version that I can link? I didn't see one on the website, and I was thinking maybe there isn't one, or you just haven't uploaded it.
I just haven't updated it yet, but
Okay. Okay.
yeah, if you
I
give
just
me a
wanna-
minute, I'll
That's
make it
okay.
happen.
I mean, mine's not there yet either, but I think I maybe didn't.
You did send it out to everybody, and I am updating it on the website.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, well, when we get to me, I'll explain what happened and why it's so late.
Thank you, Kana. Anybody else?
I had a few things, but I think some of them are already answered in the 5-year plan. I just haven't committed it to memory yet, but this is helpful so I can kind of go back and cross-reference things. And I just wanted to say thank you. That was beautiful. I enjoyed it. And it's just, I don't know, it was really nice to hear. And I didn't know that parent attendance at conferences, it wasn't typical for such high involvement. So that's a huge win. So I was going to say kudos to the team too.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm actually really glad that you brought up the strategic plan because APS, so the district as a whole, in their strategic plan, specifically goal 1, they've got interim goals that use the iStation / Amira assessment. And Lori, when they recently monitored goal 1, it almost sounds like they're considering this year as a new baseline because of the significant changes. And we've established goals in our strategic plan related to that assessment. So maybe through academic excellence, we can have a conversation about whether we need to do the same thing and have this year be considered a new baseline. What are your thoughts on that?
It's really hard to say. I hate to lose all that previous data. On the other hand, what it feels like right now is that this test is so different from what it used to be that it's going to be hard to compare, current year scores to previous year scores. That being said, they have a lot of statisticians and they calibrate and they say it's supposed to be the same. And so, I think after one round of administration across the state, I think I'd like to see round 2 and kind of see where we're at.
Okay. Any other questions for Lori? Okay, Lori, thank you for that report. Going back to the agenda, we are now on item 5.2, teacher report. Kana.
Hi.
Hi.
My apologies. I thought I sent it out at 6:30 this morning. And I did, but there's 2 GC emails, and one of them is defunct, but I was in the bosque, so I didn't know until I got to work. So, did you receive it? Did everybody get it?
Is it now posted in the meeting materials?
No, I emailed it to governing council.
I do see head teacher report in the meeting materials.
Okay, but I also emailed it to you guys. So what I'm asking is if the email is working, if the governing council email is working. Normally I would email it to you on a Friday.
I did not receive an email.
Neither did I.
At your mountmahogany.org address?
Correct.
Interesting.
Well, I did it to governing council, so we might need to update that list.
Did you do it at the GC at Mount Mahogany?
I've done both.
Okay, yeah, because they're in there, so I don't know why it didn't work. And I just added Brooke and Hay. They were not in there when you sent it earlier, but.
Okay. So you're saying I should be using the GC?
That's what's attached to the governing council group, is the GC at mountmahogany.org. And so I'm not sure why it didn't work.
That's one that bounced back.
Okay. Maybe we can have Jen look at it. See if she can figure it out.
I'm just gonna send you guys a link to my.
There it is.
I can share my screen if that would be helpful for everybody.
I mean, I don't think everybody wants to read on the screen. I'll just sort of go over it and,
Perfect.
It's a little bit more flowery probably than you're used to. But, so I just, said once again, like I'm pretty humbled, to work for, just for our school in this capacity. It means a lot to me. And of course, the school means a lot to me too. And I've been meeting with the teachers and staff, mostly teachers first, just because they had the hardest schedule to work around. And I'm working on trying to fit in all the staff. And, one thing that's clear is just across the board is all the people who work at Mount Mahogany have such a strong, heartfelt, really, they're so committed to the growth and well-being of our children that it's really astonishing. I think that, that just speaks to the power of our school. Generally, everybody says they're okay, and I'm glad I actually get to say that. They said it kind of in a positive note. Well, yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay, which is good. Like, there's sometimes where right after, report cards are like, oh my God, I think I'm gonna die. And, I think an overall theme is just how do we address lagging skills, both our own and our students across campus, their behavior problems, their like how to get along with each other or pick up a pencil. How do we as adults, what are our lagging skills? So that's sort of a theme that I heard from everybody in some form. One great quote is this, it's like having a lot of construction knowledge and tools, but you're going to do a plumbing job or an electrician job. You can sort of do the job, but you don't quite have the skills or the right toolbox. And, there's always room for growth as educators. And I think children are also changing a lot. Our culture is in the middle of changing a lot. So, it's a really interesting and complex time to be an educator. Nothing's really static at the moment. Along with this, I think there's like a desire for a shared language around how we support children. Not really, but like everybody acknowledges that we have, we definitely share probably even maybe techniques and values and all of that stuff is aligned, but are we saying the same things? Are we one word, one term I might use might not mean the same thing to a different kid. And so, I think that was pretty great to hear that, everybody feels like we have shared goals and strategies. And so there's a lot of comments about, which you were speaking to, Lori and Brian, a lot of comments about how we build relationships with our students. And, one teacher was saying, yeah, when I build relationships with them and then I talk to them about their behavior, they're like pretty invested in it. They really care that I care and they try harder. And I thought that was just such a beautiful sentiment. There's a bunch of ideas that came up. You could read about them if you want. And I haven't had a chance to work with Lori that, about how we can start to address these. But one is like, how do we keep what we're doing, like fundraising, things like that, aligned with their vision? And also, just like it is always important to revisit the idea, to revisit your vision and mission and build community around that. I mean, if you're an old timer, like Lori is now, and a lot of us here are, we can take it for granted. And so there's some interest around that. And also, a lot of curiosity, sustainability came up and longevity came up. And so, me and Lori haven't had a chance to brainstorm. So stay tuned for that. And then I gave you a little short history of our community, just because when we're talking about longevity, it's our 20th anniversary year. And so I just have some quick facts to share with you. We currently have 3 teachers who are founding family members, myself, Molly, and Jenny, who was also, for Jenny, this is her 3rd round of teaching at Mount Mahogany. So she's come back to us twice after the first time. And all of our kids were the founding kids. And so I think that just alone sort of speaks to the beauty of our vision and our commitment, but that's not all. Let's see, there are 4 former students who are currently working or seeking out to work at Mountain Mahogany, 2 of which are from the first graduating class of Mountain Mahogany. So they were the first middle school students. Also, my last fact on that is that the first from that first graduating class, a different student also has her child here in first grade. So I'm going to do a little 20 years of Mount Mahogany every month in my report for you guys. And the other ones, I just put in the quotes that I had shared with you before, that I didn't give to you in writing from the last report. Are there any questions for me?
I love your idea, Kana, of revisiting the anniversary during this anniversary year.
Thank you. I did link the document too right there on the chat if anybody wants to take a look at it.
Any questions or comments for Kana about her report?
I thought this was fabulous as far as the changing times and how we're dealing with things. I have three of my own that are in very different developmental stages, and most times I'm like, I have no idea what to do. There's so much new literature out there. It's totally different from when I was growing up, especially having an adolescent coming of age right now with social media and technology, and really trying to find those tools. And what's going to work for my child might not necessarily be what works for me, even at this stage. And a lot of the things that I think to myself, like, oh, this is how I would do it. I'm like, she's not me. She's a very different personality. She's living in a different generation and totally different way. So I like the idea of trying to find ways to share what strategies that we're using for ourselves and what other families might have access to, or maybe came across a TikTok or something like that. There's just so much out there. So I'm curious about, I don't know what that looks like as a community for the school, like how we can do that, because it kind of falls outside of, the standard curriculum and things like that, but how we can kind of get that engagement going.
Hey, we have done in the past, and when you said that, I thought, we used to have parent nights where we would I don't know, just train like a certain technique or do a certain thing, or I'll talk about what we do. And so that just kind of brings that to mind. I mean, it's a good idea.
I would love that, honestly.
Brooke and Rainey, any questions or comments about the teacher report?
I just want to say it's fascinating and exciting watching you fall into this role as well, having seen you in the teacher capacity on the front lines for a couple of years now. This is exciting. So thank you for this report.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Hearing no further questions or comments, Kana, thank you very much. Item 5.3, Family Council Reports. Anything, Lori?
We do not have a family council report, and I'm going to toss it back to Kana to give us an update on the student council report.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I don't
Change
have
hats.
one, but I am training somebody. I am training somebody because I'm the advisor for student council, and I have recruited one of our secretaries who is reluctantly going, but it's also a very gifted writer, so I think that he'll really enjoy it. Actually, it's just I got one thing running. Now I'm going to get that one running. So next month you will have a student council report, and maybe I can even get one of them to come and present it with me.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. Our secretary is he's ready for that leadership role.
Oh, sorry. Can I ask, what does a student council setup look like? What are they all involved in as far as with their structure?
Planning dances and spooky grams. That's what's doing at the moment. Yeah. I mean, they do other things too. They're working on it. There was a different advisor, and then, whenever, in my experience, when that happens and then, it switches over, there's always like a little bit, wait, but you're not doing things, and there's some like dissonance around it, that's not what we did. And so there's some loss, and now it's like a very strong student council. We have 2 representatives for each advisory and for fifth grade. And then those kids also serve as representatives for the younger grades who are not really old enough to serve in student council. And so they, they're working on it. It's a really, we lost our president, so the vice president is now the president. She's doing a great job. But, their big goal right now, hey, is the dance and the spooky grams. But, we're working on that capacity for them to reach out, see what students are looking for, what do they need, maybe some fun learning, ice cream social, a way to raise the funds and they have those things in mind. They're just, they're getting up and running, and I've got to teach them the Robert's Rule of Order still because it's a little chaotic. It's a little chaotic, but that's where they're at right now. And we have officers too. I'll let Samson is our secretary. So I'll let Samson
I like that name too.
talk about our structure.
Okay.
And yes, you are related to somebody who I think should be in student council next year.
Oh, I was like, yes, I have a child there.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll talk to her about it.
Anything else for Kana?
Oh,
Regarding
sorry, one more. I'm so sorry.
no, it's okay. Don't apologize.
It's dances and spooky grams. Is that for Halloween?
The Spooky Grams, yeah, it's a fundraiser where, they have a bunch of designs. They're in the office if you want to buy some. You can also order online. And the student council will deliver it to the classes first thing on Halloween morning to be delivered to the kids.
Oh, cool.
And you can even do it anonymously and we'll write it for you.
Okay.
So.
And that was it. Sorry.
Freeze again? Mm-hmm.
All right. Moving on to item 6, Finance Committee, 6.1, summary from previous Finance Committee meeting on October 16th, 2025. Elizabeth.
So heads up, I just paused again. I'm probably the only person on campus using the internet, and it's telling me it's unstable, which is a little unnerving. So if you lose me, that's why, and apologies in advance. I am going to start, and basically I'm going to follow along with the financial report that we generated for the meeting. So the first thing in there is the request for reimbursement. And this is, I think, as of last Friday or Thursday when we did the finance meeting. So we have started doing some requests for reimbursement. And the first one you see here is for Idea B, which is our special education funding that Mary submitted. And then, let's see. We also have one for Ed Fellows, and we have 2 of our EAs are in the Ed Fellows program, which is a way of generating teachers. So they're taking classes and working towards getting their teaching license. And this is a way of supporting them in doing that. And then I think the last one is, so every month we have to submit our claim for the lunch program by the 10th, and we make sure that we meet those deadlines. The Seamless Summer, which is this first row, is fully funded by USDA. There's no state match for that program, but for every other month we're doing the regular food program, there is a state match, and that's how we're able to make the meals free for the kids. Does anybody have any questions on the RFRs? And as we move forward, we'll see more and more requests for reimbursement. So, okay, so that's where we're at for requesting reimbursement. And then next up, we're going to start going through the financial statement for the month of August. Oh, and in between, it's a little paragraph about the pledge collateral report that we bring to the GC every quarter. So next month, we're doing September because that's the end of the quarter. We'll also have the pledge collateral for you. So this first section is the statement of financial position. And if I go to the second page, you can see that we have $1,497,808, of which 686,356 are in operational. So that's a pretty good position to be in, I think.
It is one of the reasons, just to let you all know, we get paid a 1/12 of our funding every month, starting in July. However, our expenses really start in August. And so you'll see in that net increase line, you'll see we have this $229,000. Most of that is our cash isn't really used for expenses until August because the school's primarily shut. So that's one of the reasons why you see a higher cash balance. However, we have to keep cash back because starting in July of next year, we have to those summer payrolls are charged to the year. So for fiscal year 25, we have to keep enough cash on hand to pay our teachers and our staff for July of 2026 and a little bit of August of 2026. So you will see throughout the year that cash kind of builds because we have to hold back that money so we can pay them during the summer.
So this year, because we have the extra, it's even more, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have
So-
3 payrolls.
This is a weird year for payroll because normally we have 26 pay periods, but because if you take 365 days and you divide it by 14 days, it's actually a little over 26. So every 14 years we have to add an extra payroll, and this just happens to be that year. So I get to learn even more new stuff this year. But it also means that we're going to have more money in reserve to cover the summer payroll.
It's like a leap year.
Yeah,
It is.
it is.
It is.
All right. Any questions on the statement of financial position? All right. I'm going to move on to the statement of revenue, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. And this report shows you the revenue and the expenditure streams, and it's similar to what you'll see when we get our audited financials back. And is there anything else you'd like to say about? I think that's it. Yep, that's it.
So for those of you who are new on the board, this gives you our types of revenue on the top half, and the bottom half. The state of New Mexico utilizes a chart of accounts that is dictated by the federal government. And so all of our accounts have to be identified by subcategories. For example, you'll see below 1,000 is our direct instructional. 2,100 is student support. So all of our expenditures get slotted in these different functions, and they are reported to the federal government by PED on a quarterly basis. So to keep everything across the country financially in comparable financial statements, this is the format that we're required to use by the state of New Mexico. And so we kind of go through every expense and say, okay, let's see, this is a student support account, or this is an instructional support expense.
So you can kind of see if you look at the 24106, which is our special education, that's coming out of student support, which makes sense. That's where our ancillary staff are. And the Medicaid, that actually covers our nurse. So that also makes sense that it would be student support. So, and the REC, that's our Ed Fellows, and that's EAs in the classroom. So, and these two are our food service accounts. This one's the federal USDA, and this is the state match. So.
And if you choose to, you can take our budget to actual that we'll show you here in a minute, and you can actually track those actual expenditures, year-to-date expenditures, up to this page to see that, okay, here's all the hundreds of accounts because of payroll, hundreds of accounts that total up to our direct instructional. So you can go all the way down to teacher salaries and teachers' ERB expense and teachers' medical insurance expense. And so that is a method of taking this down or coming up from the bottom and going above to summary financial statements.
Any questions on the statement of revenue, expenditures, and changes in fund balance? And did we lose Brooke? Or am I just not seeing her?
I'm here.
Good. All right, up next, my favorite. Let me make it bigger so you can actually read it. And this is the cash disbursement. So I try to put in description for all of the things that we're purchasing. So this first one here is a part of our risk payment. We actually got approval to do it in 3 payments. You'll see 1 here and then 2 in September when you see the September. The Charter School League, that's the league that we do some of our sports through, the cross country and the track. Let me know if you have any questions about anything you see here. And I'm going to go ahead and scroll down.
Elizabeth, what is a risk payment?
So that is our property and liability insurances plus our workers' comp insurances. And that is provided to us through New Mexico Public School Insurance Authority. We are required by statute to use that entity to cover our insurance needs. You'll see on the third line, other insurance, about 15,000.
Right.
That's our insurance. That's the insurance for our employees, their medical, dental, vision, long-term disability, basic life that we provide to our employees.
And Elizabeth, did I hear you correctly? With September, there will be 2 risk payments? Yeah. Okay.
Mary wanted them to all be reflected in the first quarter, so I paid 1 at the beginning of the month and 1 at the end of the month.
Part of that is our Medicaid administrative claim. This is part of the administrative claim. So if we can get it all in 1 quarter, it gives us a little bit of extra reimbursement from on the Medicaid administrative claim. The second line you'll see is ADP. That is our payroll service. That's who we process our payroll and who pays they actually are the ones who remit direct deposits and checks to our employees. They also pay all of our tax bills, our federal income tax withheld by employees, our Social Security and Medicare payments. They also pay the state of New Mexico and the for employees' income tax withheld, and also for the SUTA, the unemployment tax that we have to pay. So we pay them, and then they pay those entities and our employees.
My only additional question is the very last item made out to Lori for IMSE training and supplies, just over $2,500. Could I just have a little bit more information about what that training was and what the supplies were?
Can I get that to you? I'm going to have to go. Can I get back to you on that? Because I'll have to go find the voucher to figure out what exactly was in there.
Most of that money is probably the IMSE because that runs about $1,500.
They usually are $1,500. There's been a couple that have been less than that, but it's probably $1,500. She and I both do purchases through Amazon, and certain times of the year, August being one of them, we tend to buy a lot of stuff for teachers, and so I kind of lump it all into supplies. So there's probably a lot of office and classroom supplies in there as well. Yeah, but I can get you more specifics.
That would be great.
Okay.
I mean, I'm definitely used to seeing Lori's name on this report. I just thought I would ask because of the amounts.
Yeah.
What is IMSE?
Institute. Oh, Mary, Lori, go ahead.
I was going to say, let Lori do it.
Yeah. It's the Institute for Multisensory Education. It is a literacy trainer. So I'm sure that part of that is like $1,500 because that's how much they charge for their comprehensive training, which is a 30-hour training. We had, I believe it was Udzili who was new, who needed the training. So, we try to make sure all the teachers have the same training. It kind of goes back to what Kana said about the common language. It really helps our teachers implement our model successfully. Unfortunately, IMSE won't ship the materials without a payment. So that frequently means that we're on a time schedule and we can't wait for a check, which is why I end up paying for it and getting reimbursed.
Gotcha. And as you were explaining that, Lori, just looking back at the report here, I do see a couple of payments specifically to the Institute for Multisensory Education.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Elizabeth, perfectly fine to get back to me in the near future with more details.
Okay, Babs. And the other thing I wanted to point out, because it's going to come up later when we're talking about the fixed assets, is these two right here were the final piece of the stop that.
What is it doing, Elizabeth?
I don't know. I just want you to go away. Thank you. Sorry. No. The final piece of the kitchen remodel. Sorry. That you'll see in the fixed assets. So, okay. Any other questions on the cash disbursements for August? All right. Last one is the one that Mary's alluding to, which is the budget to actual expenditures. And this is the one that has all the different accounts. And as she was alluding to, basically,
we are required by the state of New Mexico to record all of our employee expenses by job code.
yeah.
And so, as you can see, the first page, the first few lines, we identify job codes by who they are. But as you go on, there's ERB, there's RHC, there's Medicaid, there's FICA, there's medical. I mean, it goes for pages because we have to have every single job code is identified in those benefits. It's something that they've been doing now for about 3 years, and it's helpful, but it's also very long. Thank you, Elizabeth. And if you, for example, we actually have also programs that we have to record. So our art teacher is partly as a a 1st through 12th teacher, but she's also an elementary art grant teacher. So we have to allocate her salaries between code 1010 and 1020. So payroll gets a little voluptuous. It's huge. So we will keep going until we'll let you know when we get to the end of, there we go.
Yeah.
We finally got to the end of go up one more.
So you want to go to the bottom of the 1,000, wherever it is? Where is it? Okay, I'll find it.
Up there.
I was. There it is.
So you can see most of our budget is what we've been budgeted and approved by both the governing council and PED. And so the majority of our money is budgeted in direct instructional, and the majority of that is in salaries and benefits. Our benefits are about 32% of salary. And so those are numbers that go high quite quickly. You currently do not see encumbrances for payroll. I wait till September because our people, it gives a chance for the staff to get a little settled before I have to record the encumbrance, because otherwise I have to keep changing it while we change staff. So those will come in September. So you will see in that third column called encumbrances year to date, you'll start seeing payroll dollars encumbered, which is basically what we've said we will pay employees on and expenses on their behalf. The final column, the one that says available, that's basically just a calculation of budget less actual, less encumbrances. So that's basically what we have available to spend. And again, right now it's very high because we don't have those payroll encumbrances in.
Okay, the other thing I wanted to show you when I get there is, so one of the things we do look at is making sure that the available amount for these functions is positive.
Especially at quarter end.
Yeah, because the PED does not like that. And there's only one in here that is negative.
There was? I didn't see it.
You know what? Oh, yeah. It's negative in here because we hadn't input the bar yet that they approved at the last meeting. So, and that was the Ed Follows, which I'm getting to. Come on, 26107, where are you?
So this is by fund,
There we go.
and the fund,
Yep.
we have to record, every grant we have is a different fund. So we run approximately 10 to 12 general ledgers for each fund, and each of those fund have basically 3 sets of books, one budget, one encumbrances, and one actual. So when you come in and somebody was like, we see smoke coming out of the room, it's because Elizabeth and I are usually we're tracking 50 sets of general ledgers. It sometimes gets a little hectic.
So this is the only negative function that we have for the month of August, and that's because we brought a bar last month to set up the budget for the Ed Fellows program, but it hadn't gone through this, well, because you just approved it in September. This is from August. So, but that budget will make it the negative value go away. So that was the only one. Everything else in here looked good for the month of August. Did anybody have any questions on the budget to actual expenditures?
If not,
I'm not hearing any questions.
Then we respectfully request that you approve the financial statements and cash disbursements for the month ending August 31, 2025.
This is Rainey, and I'll make a recommendation to approve financial statements and cash disbursements for the month ending 8/31/25.
This is Hay, and I second the motion.
Thank you. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey, I approve.
Brooke, I approve.
And this is Hay, and I approve.
The motion passes. Item 6.3, a recommendation to approve bar FY 26-04.
And this bar is to, we just got this letter here saying that we are getting this much carryover from last year. And so now we can actually do a budget adjustment request for the initial budget for that fund and grant. And we're going to be using it for professional. This is going to be 2 of those IMSE courses at $1,500 each. And okay, and this is for our, thank you, our academic language therapists. Any questions about this bar?
Is it appropriate to say that this will be money that we are not going to receive next year?
correct. This is carryover and it will end this year.
Thank you very much.
We
Any
did
questions?
budget, just so you know, we did budget our language therapist in our operational because we didn't know if we were going to be getting this carryover. So it is a position that we tend to budget inside our operational budget.
Great, thank you for that. Any other questions about this bar? Hearing none, I'm happy to entertain a motion.
This is Rainey, and I make a motion to approve bar FY 26-04, 24,190.
This is Hay, and I second it.
Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey, I approve.
Brooke, I approve.
And this is Hay, and I approve.
The motion passes. Item 6.4, where we may have a typo. Recommendation.
Yeah. Okay, that's not my typo.
It's never about
my
blame.
typo.
But I believe it should say recommendation to approve bar FY 26-05, 24,195. Is that correct?
That's
Yes,
correct.
That is
Okay.
correct. And this one is this really cool grant that Lori applied for at the beginning of the year, and it's for Panorama. So the first line, the professional development, is for them to train us on how to use it, and the second one is for the actual software. And the reason that this line is in here is because, oh, geez, I'm sorry. I did upload a revision. This is not the revision. Bless it be. I'm so sorry. because this actually now says 56113 in the revision, because in the original codes that were available for this fund, all they had that was not salary or benefits was this code and another one that's completely not appropriate. And so Mary's been talking to them. Let me see if I'm going to upload the correct one. So sorry about that.
So we have to, because of another GASB financial statement, we have to record all software to a function, to an object called software. And they had not set it up.
Even though
it's their
Panorama was part of this grant.
and it's their UCOA, which is what they call it. They're working on getting us the account into the budget system so that we can budget it in the correct account. And so as soon as they get that set up, then, and it is, this is a dependent bar that comes through APS. So as soon as they take this to their board, then we get ability to enter into the state system to get budget authority to spend this. We do not have budget authority at this point in time until APS actually sends us this bar to approve, and that's the same for 24,190. Both of these, we are coming to you beforehand, so as soon as APS puts it into the system for us, we can get them uploaded and approved and start spending that money. This is one of those that sometimes Lori applies for things and we don't really know about it.
It sounds cool though.
We got this notice and we're like, Lori.
What is this? Well, that's because you weren't sure you were going to get it. So, yeah.
So if there's any questions, we'd be happy to help. And if not, we would request approval of 2605.
And keeping in mind for anyone who wants to make the motion that it's 26-05.
Yep. This is Rainey, and I make a motion to approve bar FY 26-05, 24,195.
This is Hay, and I second it.
Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey, I approve.
Brooke, I approve.
And this is Hay, and I approve.
The motion passes. Item 6.5, a recommendation to approve certification of fixed assets for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025.
So get your microscope out, or your magnifying glasses out. We are required to come to the board of it, to the GC, to approve our fixed assets on an annual basis. We do this as part of the audit also. And the report that we've given you is a listing of all of our assets that are over $5,000, except there used to be a $1,000 limit for fixed assets. So sometimes you might see a smaller amount if it's an old asset. I think we've gotten rid of all of those by now. But this is all of the fixed assets that we depreciate over many years, and we add them every year. Part of it is the cost of those assets, and the other is the depreciation value. These are reflected on our audited financial statements at the government-wide level. This year, we have something called construction in progress because we had a kitchen remodel that was not finalized by 6/30/2025. It was not usable. We had no sink. And so, nor was the sink installed. So it's considered construction in progress because it is not in a usable condition. So that is the two items that you saw earlier in the check register. So for fiscal 26, you'll see these at the very bottom, you'll see CIP. Those will go up into the regular assets and they will be depreciated for the entire fiscal year. While we do this for the auditors, you'll see a V in one of the columns, and that means that we have verified that those assets are still here and we know where they are. And probably the trickiest is our computers. But Jen Silfer and I sit down every year and we go through the list that make sure that these items and all the items within there are still around. And she and I have got this down now.
What do the colors signify?
The colors signify the type of asset, and it's to tie in for the auditors. So you'll see buildings, you'll see furniture assets. And so that's kind of the coloring. And then one is land. The light purple is land. So this is color coded so the auditors can basically very easily tie in this to the summary sheets that we have to provide them for the audit.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions regarding the certification of fixed assets? Hearing none, I'm happy to entertain a motion.
This is Rainey, and I make a motion to approve certification of fixed assets for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 25.
This is Hay, and I second the motion.
Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey, I approve.
This is Brooke, I approve.
And this is Hay, and I approve.
The motion passes. Item 6.6, recommendation to update the authorized check signers for Mountain Mahogany Community School.
So for this, we need to remove Aaron Ferreira off of the list of check signers, and we do need to have a GC member as a check signer. So I asked Brian earlier if he'd be willing to do it, and he said yes. So we'd like to add Brian Lawrence, and we'd also like to add Shalane Clayton, so that when folks are out of town, I can find the 2 check signers that I need. Right now, we have Lori and Molly are our designated 2 check signers, so we'll be adding to them.
And Elizabeth, can you just explain to the group what Shalane's role is?
She is our special education head teacher for elementary, and yep.
Okay.
So her contract schedule is a little bit longer than the regular teacher, so it seemed like a good fit because she's available more days and willing.
So we do require that 2 signers sign all checks for the school. And so that's why we need several. From a internal control standpoint, the fact that we have 2 sets of people who look at the documentation, match it to the check, make sure all the check and the documentation is in order before they sign is a very, very important and final, before it goes out the door, check to make sure that the expense that or the check that they're signing is appropriate and supported in accordance with school policies and the state of New Mexico requirements.
Is there oh, go ahead.
If there's no questions, we would need a motion that indicates that our U.S. bank bank accounts need to be updated in order to add Brian and Shalane and then to remove Aaron. And we didn't want to put names on the agenda that was posted online. So the names aren't anywhere easy to see because we didn't really want them posted on a public website.
What's Shalane's last name?
Clayton.
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 And actually, Aaron has a hyphenated name.
How blessed to be. I thought it was just
Pereira dash Prada, I believe.
No, you're thinking somebody.
Oh, I am. I'm
Yep.
thinking one of the employees. Sorry. So I think, Brian, are you going to make this one?
Can I do that? Can I make the motion?
I
I
don't
can
know why
attempt it.
not. You can.
Okay. All right, this is Brian. I make a motion to modify the signers on the school's U.S. bank accounts to remove Aaron Ferreira and add Brian Lawrence and Shalane Clayton.
This is Rainey and I second.
Thank you. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey, I approve.
Brooke, I approve.
And this is Hay, and I approve.
Motion passes. Item 6.7, just a discussion, review status of requests for reimbursement, but I think we did that already.
Yes, we did do that.
And item
And-
6.8, next finance committee meeting to be determined. Thank you, Elizabeth and Mary.
Thank you for letting us take a little bit more time to maybe go in more depth than we normally do on the financial statements for the new board members.
Number one, I appreciate that. And number two, it's reassuring that your explanation matches my understanding. 3 years on the board, I just want to make sure I'm doing things the right way. All
If
right, thank you
anybody
very much.
does have questions, they're always welcome to either send a message to Elizabeth at her email or the school. My email for the school is businessmanager, all one word, all spelled out, at mountainmahogany.org.
Yeah, because we wanted the
And-
longest possible email address for her.
Yes, and I'm always happy to spend time with people who want to have a more understanding, or if you just like, I don't get how this ties out. You are more than welcome to let us know, and we are more than welcome or more than happy to sit down with anybody.
Thank you for that. We are lucky to have both of you. Item 7, Policy Committee. 7.1, no summary from previous Policy Committee meeting. 7.2, next Policy Committee meeting to be determined. Item 8, Academic Excellence Committee. 8.1, summary from previous Academic Excellence Committee meeting on October 9th. We did meet, and as Lori alluded to earlier in the meeting, we were pulling up some reports for Amira/iStation in particular, and it was more a conversation about which reports have changed, how the reporting has changed, and just trying to puzzle through all of that. In future meetings, I mean, we'll continue to look at those assessment results. And I believe at the last GC meeting, I talked about how we've shifted to monitoring of the strategic plan, and we'll continue doing that through the Academic Excellence Committee as well. Are there any questions for me about Academic Excellence Committee work? Lori and Kana, was there anything that you wanted to add about our work?
No.
Okay, thank you. Item 8.2, it's an action item, a recommendation to accept the New Mexico Vistas report for the 2023-2024 school year. Lori.
Yeah, so this is one of those items like when you get your audit, it's not approving it per se because we've received it. It's just accepting it. We should be able to get our Vistas report for 24-25, I would assume in the not too distant future. But as the state revamps their processes and procedures, part of what they have asked as the accreditation process is that schools accept their Vistas report. So I thought, well, why not? We'll accept our 23-24 report, and then it'll help us prepare to accept our 24-25 report. If there are any errors in the data, the school has to identify those errors and make a report to the state before certain deadlines in order to get them corrected. I did identify a few errors in our data and went ahead and let the state know about it, mostly having to do with students who shouldn't have been counted as a full academic year student, but were.
And Lori, you mentioned about the latest data. It should be out, by mid-November.
Yes, that was my understanding. So before Thanksgiving, if, I don't know how the dates will fall with our November meeting, but certainly our December meeting, we should be able to address it.
And for our newest members, and Rainey, I forget if you were on the board at the time that I did during a GC meeting an overview of New Mexico Vistas. I think it was before your time.
Yeah, I don't recall it.
So this is the state's accountability system where they identify schools in need of support. And I mean, Lori is well versed in this as well. If there's a desire among governing council members for a similar presentation in the future, that is something that I'm happy to do.
I'm very interested. I'm looking at it right now and I have some questions on it. So yes, whenever if we can coordinate that, I would love that.
Great. Yeah, the PDF you notice is 18 pages long.
Yes.
It is a little bit easier to navigate the actual New Mexico Vistas website, but in terms of how the school earned its designation or its overall score, that's something I can definitely help with.
Yes, I would love that. And
Awesome.
I don't know if you know off the top of your head, like why certain items are masked on
Mm.
the list.
Lori, do you want to respond to that?
Hey, it's usually because there are fewer than 10 students in that particular subgroup. And so, out of respect for potentially identifying students, that's how the data is reported.
Okay. I'm like, I have three there now, and we check off two out of the three of the masked
For
populations.
sure, yeah. And, we have a lot of multi-ethnic students at Mount Mahogany. So there is a category that is two or more. And so that's where some students' data might fall as well.
That's fascinating. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
it is
Thank you.
fascinating. We could have a whole discussion on how, like, academic data is reported and sliced and diced regarding
Mhm.
ethnicity because, there's just, it's not necessarily intuitive as you might think it is, but
Right.
yeah, Brian knows probably as much as anybody I've talked to about how that happens.
I know too much, which is usually a good thing, but like
Okay. And then when you were saying not full-time students, meaning like a student that maybe transferred
Yes,
into Okay, got it.
or out of.
And
Um,
they would still count their test scores, like if they were there in the beginning of the school year and then left?
No, that's what one issue was is I found a couple kids who had left whose test scores were still showing up in our data. This wouldn't be for the what we're voting on today, but for the future report. Um, unless you've been at the school since the 80th day, which is in December, and the 120th day, and at the end of the school year, that's when your test score would count for the school, as well as students who were enrolled in the school all year long.
Okay.
I think it's just 120-day in EOY, and then you have to be there for at least half the year.
Okay, so yeah, 80th day usually picks that up too,
Okay. I'm going to commit those numbers 40, 80, 120 to memory.
right?
Yep. Yeah.
Trust me, they're on my calendar.
So, is there a motion for item 8.2?
Yes, this is Rainey, and I'll make a motion to accept the New Mexico Vistas report for the 2023-2024 school year.
This is Hay, and I second it.
Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey, I approve.
Brooke, I approve.
And Hay, and I approve.
Motion passes. 8.3, next Academic Excellence Committee meeting is scheduled for November 5th, 2025. Item 9, Council Development Committee. 9.1, review status of board member training hours and training opportunities. I'm not sure who else received the email from PED. They still have previous board members listed, but just a reminder that returning members are required to complete 5 hours of training, and our newest members have 10. And that is every year between the fiscal year, which Lori explained earlier, which runs from July 1st to June 30th. Right. Item 9.2. Recommendation to nominate and elect officers and committee chairs for the 2025-2026 school year. So, Aaron was the president. I am the vice president. Rainey, you're the secretary, correct?
Correct.
And who was our treasurer? Was that?
It was Andy.
That's what I thought. Okay. So those are our four officers. And in terms of committees, we've got audit, policy, finance, and academic excellence. And I currently serve as the chair of academic excellence. Who do we have on the finance committee?
There. It's
Sorry, we were muted.
Reedy's on the
Yeah.
finance.
Rainey?
Rainey's on it's usually the treasurer, by statute, the treasurer is automatically a member of the audit and finance
Thank you.
committees. And then we usually have one other board member on the finance committee. And traditionally, because of the manner of the audit committee, the president normally serves on the audit committee.
So, I mean, we're going to vote on all of these. I currently serve as the vice president. I am happy to put my name forward as a nominee for president. I would like to remain the chair of the Academic Excellence Committee if the GC members vote to allow me to continue that. Who chairs the Finance Committee?
Treasurer.
Okay.
Treasurer chairs both the finance and the audit committee meeting or committee. And then again, as I mentioned, normally the other member of the audit committee is the chairman of the chair of the president of the board.
Okay.
Brian, are you waiting for people to vote for you?
I am interested in what everyone else is thinking in terms of their officer and committee responsibilities.
I'm content remaining secretary and on the finance committee should the council feel that's appropriate.
Okay.
Can I make a motion to, or do we make a motion for this?
I think, do we typically do one motion that includes everything? I forget what we've done in the past.
Sometimes we voted officers like in one meeting and committees the next meeting. They can be together or separate. It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
But Lori, have we done officers independently, or we put down like the board and then they vote on all the officers at the same time? Do you remember?
It could be done either way. Like, let's say we still need to figure out a position. We have a vacancy. We could vote Brian in as the president and Rainey in as the secretary and someone else in as whatever position they want to be, but maybe leave one vacant. I left the agenda item suitably vague so that we could take whatever actions we deemed best.
And Lori, I agree with that approach. I mean, especially with two new members, I don't want anybody to feel pressured to have to take a specific role, especially if you've got questions about what the role might entail. I do know, I mean, the policy committee, I think, has been dormant since Ian departed.
I think per Mary's comment, the only really, you can certainly operate without a vice president if you have a president. Rainey is interested in remaining as the secretary and being on the finance committee. Some boards have a secretary treasurer. And maybe that's how we want to vote today, or maybe Brooke or Hay is interested in the treasurer role. Certainly, you would get a first-class education with Elizabeth and Mary as your business office. But we do have to have someone attending finance committee meetings, and so that person almost de facto becomes the treasurer if they're the only one there. Sorry, Rainey.
Well, and well, and then the
We
good thing
also are,
is, oh, go ahead.
we're also in the last part of the audit. The field work has been finished, but you really have to have audit and finance. You need to have those treasurers and that audit committee set because there are meetings that have to be attended to finish the audit.
Well, it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, the benefit of potentially being the treasurer, so you're going to serve on the audit and finance committees, but the president of the GC is also going to be there on the audit committee, and then Rainey's going to potentially continue on the finance committee. So it's not like this is going to be solo work.
Correct. Absolutely correct. And the treasurer is really an oversight. We try to depending on the comfort level of the treasurer, we do have them review the bank reconciliations, but that is a situation where we can sit down. We also have somebody on the finance committee who is an accountant, and as long as that person is not a bank signer, they can be that review person. So the treasurer is actually, everybody perceives it's a very task deep position. And I would say that probably the academic excellence and the policy committee in this entity are much more task related than the treasury is.
That makes sense. So, Brooke and Hay, do you have any questions, any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm kind of interested in learning more about how the finance side of things work because it is very dense information for me to take in while I'm sitting here and looking at it. So I was interested in trying to attend these meetings anyways. If it's absolutely necessary for treasurer, I would be interested and committed at least to that side of things. As far as committees, I like the idea of the policy committee, and it was something I was thinking about maybe talking to you more about, Kana, if there's things that maybe we can work on to kind of loosely implement as like something more organic as we're growing in the digital age and we're talking about the way times are changing. I don't know how, but it was something that I was thinking about as we were sitting there. So all of that just to say that I would like some more time to kind of talk to you guys independently as I'm thinking about it and ask questions and get some more information on just miscellaneous things as they're popping up, or if you guys have any insight to offer me, I'm open to that as well.
Great. Thank you for that. Brooke, what are your thoughts?
So personally, I don't think that I would be interested in the treasury position. However, anything in regards to committee that might have an open seat or something that I can be available to sit on, I happily will.
Okay. So I could make a motion where if we can, my motion would be if we can keep, well, do we need a treasurer tonight? Or is it okay if as long as we have audit and finance set up in terms of committee membership?
My preference, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. My preference would be to have a treasurer, but as long as we have two board members, you and Rainey, who can represent the audit and finance committee, I think we will be okay from the auditor's standpoint.
Do we need one though? Like, would he be able to do like a hybrid secretary treasurer in the interim? Is it required in the bylaws? Do we know?
I don't have your bylaws, your particular bylaws memorized. I would have to check the bylaws. It doesn't, not sure it precludes you from having two different people for secretary treasurer. I don't think I'm not sure it says that you can't. We're pulling it up as we speak. So I'm trying to get down to the officers.
And then while you're doing that, for me personally, I would just be worried, even in the interim, if I was on 3 committees. Because based on where we're going, and of course, no motion's been made yet, we would potentially have me and Rainey on audit, Rainey on finance, me on academic excellence. So at the very least, we would need a second on finance.
Yes.
So
Okay.
the other challenge we have right now, though, is with only 4 board members. If we have 2 GC members on finance, then we have a quorum, right?
Yes.
And we need,
So
All
and
of
we
those
need,
meetings are public.
and we need to, correct,
not
for
on
finance?
not on finance, but on the audit. But the
So-
treasurer, if we have a designated treasurer, they automatically are on finance. So that's where the 2 people come in if Rainey wants to stay.
I think what she's referring to is if you have a majority of the board at any meeting, you have to have it posted and it has to be in open meetings.
Well, 2 out of 4, though, is not a majority.
I think we may have to actually check on that one.
Okay.
And no,
'Cause I'm not
I
sure.
think Brian's right because we have to have at least 3.
Oh, okay. Well then, no worries.
That's always just a concern because
Yeah.
trying to get everything published for some of those meetings gets a little crazy. So governing council members. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going. Keep going. Officers. Hold on. I don't see where it actually says you can't. It gives, can you scroll down? Gives the definition of the officers, but I don't see where it says they have to be different people. I think we may need to do a little bit more research on that.
Okay.
But I think if we have,
It does say that the officers shall be a president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary.
but it doesn't say they have to be 4 people.
Nope, it does
Right.
not.
Okay. And Rainey, you had mentioned audit and finance. Would you, with this idea being tossed around of potentially having a secretary slash treasurer, would you also want some time to think about whether you would potentially want to put your name in the running for that combined, or not combined, but dual role?
I would, yeah, I would like a little bit of time on that.
Okay.
Yeah. Um,
So, at least according to my notes, I think we have enough to make a motion this evening to at least cover our minimum requirements.
hmm.
And then if I could just ask my colleagues on the GC over the next month to be thinking it. So the what would potentially remain vacant would be vice president, treasurer, policy, policy chair, and a second person on finance.
Correct.
Okay.
That's what I'm hearing also.
Okay. So does that seem so for Rainey, Brooke, and Hay, does that sound okay to the three of you? Just to we'll make a motion this evening, which I'm happy to make, and then just over the next month, just be thinking about and then definitely reaching out to Lori, me, Elizabeth, Mary, if you've got interest in a particular officer role, or especially with the finance, lean on Elizabeth and Mary just about what that would look like. Does that seem fair for everybody?
Yes, and quick question for the committee meetings, when you guys are coordinating those, how do you decide on that? Because I see that like the academic excellence one is coming up on November 5th. So for Elizabeth and Mary, when you guys are getting ready to meet, when do you decide that and how do we know it's happening?
We normally try to have the finance committee set so that it's um, the either the Monday or Thursday ahead of the board meeting. So those are pretty well tied to what the board meeting is set at.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that the finance committee can go um, over the information prior to the board meeting. So
Okay.
those tend to be either the Monday or the Friday, and it's really we tend to we tend to coordinate with the GC to make it more comfortable. We try to work around your schedules rather than you working around our schedules. It's usually around 4:30. We usually are done in a half hour, sometimes 45 minutes. And we tend to, these are all would be Zoom meetings.
Yeah. And actually we've been meeting at 5:30.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. So we've been having some change in membership, so but I do hope by next month that we'll have picked a steady date. Now that we have a steady date for the GC meetings, we'll pick a steady date. The week, sometime within the week before the GC meeting
Okay.
for the finance. Yeah.
So are you guys cool if I crash your upcoming meetings for finance and academic
Now that I know, and
excellence?
I even Googled what a simple majority of 4 members is, and Brian's right. Of course he's right. It's a math thing. So yes, yes.
The
50%
audit
plus
committee
one.
is probably the hardest because like we will get notifications from the auditors. This is the day we need to
Yeah.
have the meeting.
Yeah.
Pick these times.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's at that point in time, it's working around the auditor's schedule rather than our schedule. So those are probably the hardest
That's
ones.
kind of the priority is auditors, then the GC members, and then the staff. That's how the priority of scheduling goes. Yeah.
And then my last question, in terms of making a motion this evening, I mean, of course, we're going to nominate and elect GC officers, but we're just electing participants on these committees, and then the individual committees come up with their chair. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm looking at Lori, who's got her mouth covered.
No, that's fine. Usually there's just one GC member on a committee, so it makes that pretty simple.
Okay.
The two that are statutorily required to have two are the finance and the audit, and that's in New Mexico statute.
Correct. Are there any other questions or comments? And then again, I'm happy to make the motion. Okay. So this is Brian. I make a motion to, oh, are we gonna do, sorry, officers and committee, just one combined motion?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is Brian. I make a motion to nominate and elect myself, Brian Laurent, as the president of the governing council, Rainey Mullen as the secretary of the governing council, to nominate myself, Brian Laurent, and Rainey Mullen to the audit committee, Rainey Mullen to the finance committee, and myself, Brian Laurent, to the academic excellence committee.
And this is Rainey, and I second all of that as I continue to make notes.
I got you if you need backup.
Thank you. I probably will.
And I've got my notes here too. Okay. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey. I approve.
This is Brooke. I approve.
And this is Hay, and I approve.
The motion passes, and I just want to state that I am very excited to now serve in the president role. Thank you very much.
Woo!
Item 9.3, just a discussion item, review recruitment of board members slash candidates for governing council.
We
Let's
do
just all,
still need one more.
yeah, we need one.
One more board member.
And let's not limit ourselves to one.
That's true. We should set a goal of 3 more, and
Yeah.
then we would be comfortable.
So just, think about who would be a good fit. And just like with Brooke and Hay, when they were thinking about putting their names up for nomination, I'm happy to talk to anybody who's interested to have a conversation about what GC service is all about. Item 10, Director Support Committee, 10.1, nothing to report. Item 11, Audit Committee, 11.1, nothing to report. And with that, we have made it to the end of the agenda. Item 12. Is there a motion to adjourn?
This is Rainey. I make a motion to adjourn.
This is Hay, and I second that motion.
Thank you. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Rainey. I approve.
This is Brooke. I approve.
And this is Hay, and I approve.
The motion passes and the meeting ends at 7:26 p.m.